Alrighty, boys and girls, let's go ahead and make a review video. This is Mrs. Key. That's what I name her. So I have to sketch a graph of that function. So I have 3 different lines going on. So I'm going to do it one at a time. 2x plus 3. So I go to the point 0, 3. And then my slope is 2. Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. I'm going to go backwards 2. And I make my line. You don't have to make the entire line, but if you want to make it, you can. But then I look at it and I say, but this says x is less than negative 2. And negative 2 starts here, and so I get rid of all of that stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an open dot at negative 2. Because it just says less than. So open dot on negative 2. Started at 0, 3, slope was 2. Erased everything bigger than negative 2. Next line is this little guy. Same idea, we go to 0, 3, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, and I can go backwards also, and make that line. But then, I want to cut off the parts that I don't care about. So, anything beyond negative 2, anything less than negative 2, anything bigger than 2, I want to get rid of. And then I have to worry about the dots. So, at negative 2, I'm going to have a solid dot. Solid. And at positive 2, I'm going to have an open dot. Finally, I have 5. That means y equals 5. That means the y value is always 5. So you go to a y value of 5 and you make your line. But then you say self. I only care about this when x is greater than equal to greater than equal to 2. And 2 is right here, so we get rid of everything less than that. Solid dot at 2. There we go. We're done. Yippee! Next one. I'm going to make me a table. Ooh, that'll be annoying on their video. And I'm going to worry about what makes inside here 0. And negative 3 makes inside there 0. So that's going to go in the middle of my table. And I'm going to go 2 up and 2 down from there. And so now I'm just going to plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in. So if I plug in, I don't know, I'll start at the beginning. Negative 5. I do negative 5 plus 3, which is negative 2. Then I do the absolute value, which is 2. Then I multiply by negative 2, which is negative 4. And then I subtract 1, which is negative 5. So negative 5, negative 5. Then I plug in negative 4. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Absolute value is 1. Times negative 2 is negative 2. Minus 1 is negative 3. Plug in negative 3. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Absolute value is 0. Times negative 2 is 0. Minus 1 is negative 1. Don't mess up that times 0 thing. Some people, I won't mention any names from my F-block class, had some issues with that. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. Absolute value is 1. Times negative 2 is negative 2. Minus 1 is negative 3. How interesting. That's the same value as I got at negative 4. Then I plug in negative 1. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Absolute value is 2. Times negative 2 is negative 4. Minus 1 is negative 5. So I've got the points. Negative 5, negative 5. Ooh, my eyes just went cross-eyed there for a second. Ooh. Negative 4, negative 3. Negative 3, negative 1. Negative 2, negative 3. And negative 1, negative 5. So you should have a little V like that. If no V or V, then bad. If you don't have a V, something is wrong. Let's see what's next. Ooh, systems. All right. Just for funsies, I'm going to solve using 2 different methods. So the first one I'm going to do substitution. And I pick substitution for that one because I have that y right there. Next one I'm going to do elimination. You could totally do substitution on both or elimination on both. But I'm going to do one of each. For this equation, I picked this equation because there's a 1 in front of that y. And so I have negative 2x plus y equals negative 5, which means y equals 2x minus 5. Now I plug it in, take this right here, and plug it in where I see y in the other equation. Not the same equation, because then you'd get 0 equals 0, and that would be silly. But the other equation. And I wrote pretty far down. I don't know why I wrote so far down, but that's okay. So I'm rewriting that entire equation. Negative 3x plus 3y, except instead of y, I put 2x minus 5, equals negative 9. I'm going to distribute. Pew, pew! That might have been loud, sorry. And then I'm going to combine like terms. So I have these two little guys, and that's going to become 3x minus 15 equals negative 9. So that means 3x, I'm going to add 15 to both sides. So that's 6, and x is 2. Once I know that x is 2, I'm going to take that number, and I'm going to plug it in right there. So y equals 2 times 2 minus 5, which equals negative 1. So then y is negative 1. So 2, negative 1 is my answer. The next one, I'm going to do elimination. And it doesn't really matter in this case which letter I pick, because 3 and 4 aren't that similar, and 2 and 5 aren't that similar. I'm going to make the y's go away because I already have a positive and a negative, and that seems like fun. So I'm going to multiply the top one by 5, the bottom one by 2. I'm going to do that so that both the things in front of the y's are 10 or negative 10, because then I will be happy. So 15x, 10y equals 25. Happy. 8x minus 10y equals 22. Okay, now block your ears because I'm going to be excited because I have opposites right here. So I go, woo! And I cross that out. Because when I add them up, they go away. 15 plus 8 is 23. 25 and 44. 25 and 44. And then I divide by 23. So then x is 3. Now I plug it in. It doesn't matter where I plug it in. I could plug it into any of the 4 equations I have above. I'm just going to pick the first equation. So I write 3. Instead of x, I write 3 plus 2y equals 5. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2y equals 5. So then 2y equals negative 4. And I just made an oopsie. And then y is negative 2. So that gives me the point 3, negative 2. Donezo with those. And on the back. Courtney is starting a catering business and is attempting to figure out who she should be using to transport the food. She has found 2 trucking companies that are willing to make sure her food arrives intact, because that's important. If it arrives in pieces, that's a problem. Shannon's Schmoovers, 40 cents per mile, flat fee of $68. George's Get Her Done Moving, 65 cents per mile, flat fee of $23. When should you choose George's? Well, to figure this out, I think what I'm going to do is write an equation for both and see where they're equal and then make a decision. So for Shannon's Schmoovers, I'll do that one in black. I'm going to have, let's see, x is going to be number of miles. And y is going to be cost. So I'm going to have the cost equals 40 cents for every mile plus $68. And then for George's, Get Her Done, y equals 65 cents per mile plus $23. I'm going to set those equal to each other. So I'm going to substitute into the top equation for my y. I'm going to put that right up there. So I'm going to have 65 plus 23, well, 0.65, 0.40 plus 68. And then I'm going to solve. So I'll have 0.15x equals 23 subtract from 68 is 48.45. And then I can divide by 0.15. Divide by 0.15. And using my magical calculator brain, I will figure out that that is 300. So at 300 miles, they are equal. At less than 300 miles, George's is better. And I say that because he starts at $23. So less than $23, less than 300 miles, I will be paying less money. If I graphed these, George's would start down here, Shannon's would start up here, and they'd cross at 300 miles. So I would use George's for less than 300 miles. That's a lot of miles. Who knows where this food's going? Maybe it's going across the country. All right. Next one's linear inequalities. So when I see linear inequalities, I'm telling myself there's going to be shading, there's going to be solid and dotted lines. So this first one, I think most of us are going to want to write this as y is less than negative 2x plus 4. I got that by subtracting 2x from both sides. So I plot the point 0, 4, because that's the y-intercept, and then I go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And I got to look at this and it says less than. Since it says less than, dotted line, dotted, 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 dotted. I plug in 0, and I'll have 0 is less than 4. Is 0 less than 4? Come on, you know the answer. What is it? Yes, of course 0 is less than 4. So I shade over her. Then I look at this next one. It says x is less than or equal to 4. Well, x is equal to 4 right here, this vertical line. I made a solid line because it says less than or equal to. And since it says less than, that means I go over here. And then I look at the bottom one, and I start at 0, negative 5, up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. Since it's greater than or equal to, it's a solid line. And 0 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Is that true? Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it? Yes. Yes, it is. So I want the place where they overlap. And they overlap where I see red, green, and black. So right here is my answer. So you want to make sure you make the answer clear. So you make it nice and dark. Or dark if you know how to say your R's. And it's right there. Next one. Same idea. I think I would move that 2x. So y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 6. 2x minus 6. So I start at 0, negative 6, because I plug in 0 for x. Go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Solid line. Why is it solid? It's solid because it's greater than or equal to. And then I'll plug in 0, 0. 0 is greater than or equal to negative 6. Is 0 greater than or equal to negative 6? Yes. Yes, it is. So I shade that way. Y is less than 5. Less than or equal to 5, sorry. That's going to be a horizontal line. I made it solid because it says less than or equal to. And it says less than. So 0 is less than 5. So I go down. You're going down. And then I say 0, 2 for the bottom one. And I go down 5, 2, 4, 5, over 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. This one's going to be a dotted line. It's dotted, 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 dotted. And then is 0 less than 2? Yes. So then I shade this away. So my answer is where they all intersect. And that is totes right up in here. Make it clear, make it nice and dark, so we know what's going on. Make sure you stay inside the lines. Oh my goodness, I went over the line. Get out of here. Ah, get out of here. Fixed it. Here I am saying stay inside the lines, and I just go right through the line. What a silly pants. There we go. Next one, number 8. You just write, ah, can't do that. It would be much more likely that we would give you a problem like this. We don't expect you to know how to factor yet, but you should be able to do a problem like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I'm going to divide by 12. And then I'm going to take the square root. And remember a plus or minus. That's all we would expect to see from you. Last one. Woo! Last one. You start celebrating. You do your little happy dance. My daughter has an adorable happy dance. You should see it someday. No, you shouldn't. That'd be creepy. So you ask yourself, what makes x minus 3 0? And then you go up 2 from there and down 2. And you plug it in. So I'm going to start with 1. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. Even if your calculator tells you it's negative 4, that's simply because you're putting it in wrong. Negative 2, with parentheses, squared is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Plus 4 is negative 4. 1, negative 4. Plug in 2. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Square it is 1. I promise. 1, not negative 1. 1. And then 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Plus 4 is 2. And then 3 minus 3 is 0. Square root of 0 times negative 2 is 0. Careful there. We wouldn't want to mess up that. When you're multiplying by 0, it is 0. And then plus 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. Square root is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Plus 4 is 2. Plug in 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. Square root is 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Plus 4 is negative 4. So 1, negative 4. Beep. Ooh, I missed. And 2, 2. Some of us wear those on the weekends. 3, 4. 4, 2. And 5, negative 4. Pew! Pew! This one, no you or you. Bad. Enjoy.